Hello everyone, this is Shubh Agrawal and I welcome you to my channel. So I have decided to make a tutorial on making a snake game with the help of the Pygame module of Python. So this is going to be a bit long tutorial, so I will break it down into a few videos so that it is easy for you to understand. And the prerequisite of this series is that you should know the basics of the Python language, and as per the part of the Pygame module, I will be explaining everything from the very basics. So this is how the game looks like. So we have our snake, the food for our snake, and the score. And whenever our snake cut itself or hits the boundaries, the game is over. Actually, it asks for us to if we want to play again or not. And if we say yes, it reset everything. And if we say no, it just exit. So this is the end result, and we will be building this in the future videos. Hello guys, this is Shubh Agrawal, and today in this video we will be learning the basics of the Pygame module. So first of all, we have to install the Pygame module. For that, open up the terminal and simply type pip install Pygame. Now this will install the Pygame module onto your machine. So I have already installed it. Now after installing the Pygame module, open up your editor of your choice and make a file game.py, or you can name it anything you want. And in that file, we will start by importing the Pygame module. Import Pygame. Now it is recommended to make a main function in the Pygame, or not recommended, but actually I like to make a main function, so I will make it. And to call this main function, we will do a simple if condition check. Now if you are wondering, whenever we create a Python program, it automatically assigns a name main to it, and here we are checking that if the program name is main, and if it is main, then we are calling the main function. So now we can start filling our main function. So in Pygame, we have to make a window that will display all the contents of the game to the screen. So for that, we will first make a global variable, and now we have to initialize the Pygame. Now we can do this by simply pygame.init. This code will initialize the Pygame module, and now we have to actually create the display. Now here we have created the variable. We will use this variable pygame.display.setMode. Now the setMode method takes a tuple as an argument, and in the tuple we pass the width and height of the window we want to create. So here I am passing 400 by 400. You can experiment with this. And now we have created our window, so we need to give the window a title. So for that, we can do pygame.display.setCaption. Now it takes a string as an argument, so I will give here a snake game. And then we will change the background color of our display to black. So for that, we will use screen.fill method, and this also takes a tuple as an argument, and here we have to pass the RGB color. So for the black, it is 0, 0, 0. So in Pygame, we make an infinite loop, and all the features of the game are put inside this infinite loop. So for the infinite loop, I will use while true, and inside of this loop, I will make another loop. So what this is doing here is that the Pygame is registering all the events from the user into an event queue, and we can access that event queue with the help of pygame.event.get. And every element in this queue is an event object, and they will have an attribute type, which is an integer representing what kind of event it is. So let me just show you. So let's say we want to quit the game. So for that, we will do if event.type equal to pygame.quit, then simply pygame.quit. So what it will do is it will check if the event.type is pygame.quit. That means we have pressed the cross button on the window or not, and if it is, then we will simply say pygame.quit. Now this is all for the basic setup of the Pygame, and now we can start by building our snake game. So for that we will need a snake, and we can make a snake with the help of a rectangle. So basically we have to display a rectangle onto the screen, and for that Python has a method rect. So I will just use pygame.rect, and what this rect method does is that it takes 4 arguments, and the first 2 are the x and y positions. So I will give it 0, 0, and the other 2 are the width and height. So for the width and height I am going with 20 and 20. So it basically stores the coordinates of the rectangle, and now we have to store it inside our variable. So I will call this variable snake rect because it is storing the coordinates of a rectangle. And now we have to display it onto our screen. So remember the screen, we have made it, and we have to draw it on the screen. So for that Pygame has another method, pygame.draw.rect, and this method takes 3 arguments. The first one is where we want to display it. So in our case it is the screen. The second is the color. So for this I am going with the red color. So for red, this, and it is a tuple, as you can see. And after that the coordinates of the rectangle. So we have stored that in snake rect. So I will just put it here. Now after we have drawn the rectangle, we have to update the screen. So for that we will do pygame.display.update. Now this method will update the screen every time anything is drawn or it is called. So let's just first test it out. So I will save it. So as you can see, we have a red rectangle here, and its position is 0, 0, and our background is black. So I think it is working correct. Let's close it and move ahead. Before going ahead, I would like to do some feature proofing here so that it does not pose any problem in the future. So what I will do is create some variables, and which will help us later. Let me just show you. So I am making 2 variables, that is window width and window height. And now I will use these variables in this place. First the window width and then the window height. And I will make some colors also. For example, black, I will store a tuple 0, 0, 0. For red, it will be 200, 20, 20. And I will make another color green 20, 200, 20. Now I can just replace it here. We are filling the screen black, and this was red. So now this may look useless to you this time, but believe me, it will help us save a lot of time later. So now that we have our snake being displayed on the screen, let's add some movement to it. So remember the event queue. Now we will use it for the movement of the snake. So for this we will first check if there is a key press or not. So event.type equal to pygame.keyDown. So keyDown basically checks if a key is pressed, and if the key is pressed, then we have to check for which key is pressed. So event.key equal to pygame.key. So then we can simply print like up. Now it is checking if the key that the user has pressed is equal to the up arrow, then it will print up. And similarly we can check for the other arrow keys. I will just copy it here. Key down, key right, and key left. and we can update it also. Down, right, left. So let's run it to confirm that we do not have any errors. So save it and run it. And now you can see I have pressed the right key and it is giving the output right here. And similarly, if I press the up key, up, down, left, 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 up, down, right. So that means it is working fine. Now for an actual game, it is not enough to print out which key is moving. We have to add the movement to it. So till now it is only a static. It is at the position 0, 0 and it is not moving or doing any real stuff. So for that we have to add some movement to it. Now before doing the movement stuff, I would like to do some future proofing again. So this time what I will do is cut this function, cut this 2 lines of code, and I will make a function called snake, and it will take an x and y coordinates, and I will paste these lines here, and I will define x and y here. X equal to 0 and y equal to 0. So x and y will basically act as the starting coordinate of our snake, and we will pass them here. And we can call the snake function here and pass x and y to it. X and y. So let's run the program to see if there are any errors or not. Now you can see it is working absolutely fine. Now we can make the movement part of our game. So for that we will be needing 2 more variables, and I will call them x change and y change. So as you know that x and y stands for the coordinate of the snake, and the change variable will help us to increment or decrement the values of the coordinate so that we can actually move the snake. So in Pygame, the top left coordinate of the window is considered as 0, 0, and everything is done with respect to it. So if we want to move the snake up, we have to decrement its y value, and for down we will increment the y value, and similarly for the left we will decrement the x value, and for the right movement we will increment the x value. So after making the changes to the change variable, we can finally edit the x and y coordinate before calling the snake function. So let me show you. Now in this up function, if we want our snake to move up, we will decrement the y value. So y change equal to, so let's make another variable called velocity or speed, and I will give it value of 5. So I will assign the value of y change equal to minus velocity. As it is moving upward, its value will be negative, and x change will be 0 here. Now for the downward movement, y change will be positive and x change will again be 0 here. For the right movement, x change will be equal to velocity and y change will be 0 here. And for the left movement, x change will be equal to minus velocity and y change will be 0. So now we can update the values of our x and y by simply saying x plus equal to x change and y plus equal to y change, and then we call the function, our snake function. Now what will happen is there the value of x and y is 0 currently, and x change is also 0 and y change is 0 and velocity is 5. So whenever the user will press the up key, its y change value will be equal to minus 5 and x change will be 0, and then we will be doing x plus equal to x change. So for the upward movement, the x change value will be same, but the y value will be y minus 5. So So we are adding it here because we have assigned the value minus sign up here. So it's a simple logic, and we can test it out first. So actually I have made a small mistake here, and it will be by. So now just save it and run it, and hopefully I will not get any error. So as you can see, we haven't got any errors, but there is a small problem that our snake is moving very fast. Now this is a common problem in Pygame, and we can fix this easily. So up here, first of all, we have to make a clock variable. And now after our screen, we will simply use this clock variable. Clock equal to pygame.time.clock, and after this we can simply say clock.tick 60. So the problem before was our program was updating the window at very high speed, and so it thought like the rectangle just disappeared from the screen. So to solve that, we are limiting the frame rates to 60, and for that we have to make a global variable, and we use .time.clock method of the Pygame, and after that clock.tick. So let's save it and run it again. Now you can see it is moving slowly, but there is actually another problem. So now the problem is that the rectangle is leaving a trail behind it. Let me show you again. So you can see that it is leaving a trail behind it. So it is easy to fix. So let's do it. So after the update function, we will just fill the screen again. So screen.fill with the black color. Black color, and that should fix this. Let's run it again, and yes, it is fixed. So now you can move it around freely, but still we have a little problem, and this is that it can go out of the boundary, out of the window. So for this we can add up some boundary conditions. So let's do it. So we can simply do an if condition and say that if x is less than 0, then the position of x will be 0. If y is less than 0, then y can be equal to 0. If x is less than window width, it will be greater than equal to window width, then we can assign it x equal to window width minus 20, and actually we have to put 20 here also. And for the similar condition, we will just check, do window height y and y. So this should work. Let's test it out. So as you can see, our snake is working fine. It is not going out of the window, and you can play around with it. So guys, this is it for this video. In the next one, we will be adding the food for our snake, and we'll also make the snake logger as it eats the food. So thanks for watching guys, and hope you learned something. And if you did, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.